Welcome back. This week in a 9-3 vote, Miami-Dade commissioners sided with developers choosing to expand Miami-Dade's urban development boundary in deep South Dade to create an industrial park on hundreds of acres of farmland. That decision is not final. Tallahassee has to weigh in on the proposal over the next 30 days and then report back to Miami-Dade for a final vote by the county commission. Firmly opposed to the project is Miami-Dade Mayor Daniella Levine Cava. She joins us now live. Mayor Cava, great to see you, and our condolences on the loss of your father, Paul Levine, who died just a few days ago.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. And it is wonderful to be with you. And it is so very sad that my family, like so many others, has been affected by this terrible pandemic.
I agree, and I know your father's name is inscribed in the Book of Life. Madam Mayor, as you well know, because you represented South Dade as a Miami-Dade commissioner, South Dade has really been in an economic slump. Since Hurricane Andrew, the people who live there have to commute often long distances to Miami. An hour and a half is not uncommon for a commute each way. And the developers say, hey, we would put 12,000 people to work here in this industrial warehouse district that we want to build. So what's wrong with their proposal?
So there are really major concerns. First of all, we have environmental concerns. This is in a hurricane storm surge area. It puts the bay at risk, and you know our bay is in serious jeopardy. The bay and our environment are our economy, nothing more precious. And if we continue to pollute, we are going to lose everything. So we have to be extremely careful with sea level rising, this area very close and very low. It does pose a great threat, particularly to the bay. But as well, there's no demonstrated need for this project in terms of economic development. The acreage that is sought is available in other locations. Other developers have come to our planning department and asked for assistance in locating the necessary acreage. We have the available acreage that has been demonstrated in our staff analysis. And there also is not yet a clear plan for the site. So it's required through the board's own action.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, if I could jump in, there's a plan for 47% of the site. Half the site has a plan, the other half, there is no plan. That is part of your objection as well, is it not?
Correct, but as well, the land use changes are supposed to be accompanied by the zoning application, so we can fully evaluate the impact of the proposed changes. And right now, it's really a concept. It's not a fully baked plan.
And Madam Mayor, you had spoken a little bit about some of the recommendations your staff had. The community members were not able to hear some of that during this critical vote because Chairman Diaz decided not to allow that. We did hear from the developers. Do you think that not being in chambers yourself would have maybe changed the outcome of that? And as we look forward to the next steps, what are they, and do you plan to be present for that next upcoming vote?
Yes, so my staff was fully prepared, had a very detailed PowerPoint presentation on any prior efforts to move the urban development boundary. The staff have always been allowed to present. So I'm afraid that this was a rush to judgment on the part of several commissioners, and very unfortunate indeed that those with expertise, those who are charged by law with analyzing the impacts of proposed development, have a chance to present. It's not a matter of taking sides, it's a matter of presenting the science, the data, based on all of the evidence that we have as experts in planning in our planning department. So that was very disheartening. And yes, I will be playing an active role as we move forward because it is so critical that the board and the public understand what's at stake.
Yeah, Mayor Levine Cava, you recently released your first budget for Miami-Dade County government. Oh man, it is a blockbuster, $9 billion. It's almost inconceivable that it could be that much, but indeed it is. $3.3 billion for capital, $5.6 billion for operating, and significantly, it does not call for a tax increase. Now, how did you pull that off?
Well, Michael, we are really fortunate because, for one thing, our economy is on the rebound. I was looking at the figures for tourism, for example. We're doing so much better than most other places, and that is a key part of our economy. But indeed, property values are growing. There's a great demand to live here and work here, but we did not have to raise taxes, and we can keep all of our services in place and make some important enhancements too.
Was that also
so it's
because
very
of the
efficient.
Federal funds coming in? I mean, that's such an important element to a pandemic era budget.
Yes, so we really are hugely benefiting from the American Rescue Plan and, of course, the CARES Act before that. The American Rescue Plan is allowing us to replace lost revenue last year and in the 2 years going forward. So that means that will give us a cushion while the economy fully recovers.
Yeah. One item, too, real quick in the budget, in a post-Surfside world reality where we now have so much more of a focus on the need to certify buildings, to have that inspection process. One learning lesson was perhaps we need more manpower, right? More boots on the ground when it comes to code enforcement. I noticed in the budget there are 8 new positions within Code Compliance Division, and I was curious how much of those positions were informed by lessons you learned coming off of Surfside.
I believe that we have been short on code enforcement for a long time. This is a source of great concern when there's blight in a neighborhood, abandoned buildings, things like that. So we've always needed more, but especially now, yes, we need to be responsive, and not just code enforcement, but building inspectors. So we're looking at possibly changing the frequency, more frequent recertification, or shorter time period, or more rapid follow-up. So we definitely need more personnel in the future to follow through on the lessons learned.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, you a minute ago mentioned Biscayne Bay. You've been a champion of protecting Biscayne Bay. I looked in the budget, and there is only $5 million for Biscayne Bay to remove seaweed, remove fish kills, manage flood mitigation. So are you spending enough to help Biscayne Bay become healthy again?
We have money designated in the American Rescue Plan to match state dollars, and we have applied for funds from the state to put in tens of millions, if not more, into septic to sewer conversion and other things that will ameliorate the bay. And we also received substantial grants from the state already for bay cleanup. We also have a new task force that's coming on board. So we are working very hard on the bay, and we also started our fertilizer ban this summer. So that is helping as well.
Madam Mayor, I just had one last question with a few seconds left. There's another position that caught my eye. It's the housing advocate professional. It sounds like a person in a position to mitigate against some impact from evictions and foreclosures. Is that because of something we're already seeing, or are you looking ahead and expecting there to be more evictions and foreclosures?
We have really worked hard. We have the best rate of eviction prevention in the state. With the federal dollars that we've been spending at a better rate than almost anyone. And we need to have advocacy to work with our landlords and work with our tenants to make sure we do not have a crisis of increased homelessness.
Yeah. Mayor Daniella Levine Cava, a first year unlike any mayor in the history of Miami-Dade. You had a pandemic economy, you had a COVID crisis, you had the Champlain Towers South collapse. But you are surviving it all, and we appreciate your leadership. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Always.
Thank you so much.